Good morning, reflectors.
Good morning.
Welcome to Morning Intentions. Today is Friday, December 12th, and it is Reflection Friday. I feel like there's so much to reflect on with this month of trust, and especially this week, because we're talking about trusting what we've learned so far on our personal development journeys. Developing self-trust, listening to our inner compass, going from overthinking to listening to the truth that we know is true inside of ourselves. I've loved this month. I've loved it because trust is something I've thought about for so long. But what I love about doing this podcast with you, Annette, is these things that I've just thought about, these different subjects, these different concepts, they come more to life when we are here discussing them, when we're talking about them and we're putting in the work. So I want to start off our reflection by saying thank you and expressing my gratitude that we get this opportunity to do this work together.
I love it as well. I do have something to reflect on.
Okay, you're up.
I was listening to because I always listen to it back to make sure it sounds okay and the volume's okay and all of that. And I was listening to the podcast this morning. So we are making this podcast about 3 hours before everyone else is going to listen to it. It comes up at 1 a.m. and it's about 9 p.m. So we have had the whole week to think about our podcast and the discussions this week. And I re-listened to the podcast this morning, and we were talking about how it's so important to have people in our lives, our VIPs. They need to support our inner knowing, whether they understand it or not, or it makes sense. They trust us. They have trust in our inner knowing. And I've been thinking about that all day. And I wanted to kind of extrapolate that out to trusting the process of personal development and trusting, just like when we have a friend and they're sharing something and we're saying, is this really true? Is this? And we say, no, I trust them and I'm with them and I want to support them and I want to help out. Personal development is our friend too. And it's here to help us to grow, to see those blind spots. Many people are not willing to admit they have blind spots, admit what they are, to look at them real straight in the eye and say, okay, now what can I do about it? So personal development helps us to do that. Personal development helps us to look at the hard things, look at the past and learn how to heal the past so that we can leave it in the past, so that we have our full capacity, emotional and physical capacity to deal with today and to be intentional with our future. I think it's just so important that, yes, we have to get a few wins under our belts. Yes, it can be painful at the beginning. Yes, there will be times of struggle during our personal development journey. What I have learned through my own personal development journey is to trust the personal development journey, because you look back, and after you do this for a while, you look back and you think, last year I could have never set that boundary. Last year I could have never spoken up in this very difficult situation. Last year I would have allowed this misbehavior, and now I'm saying no. It's hard to see the progress day by day, even week by week. But those of us that have been on this journey for quite a while, when I look back at my life, I think I don't even know that person almost, because I couldn't do the things that I can do today. I couldn't do the things that are quite natural right now. It's all because of what I have learned on my personal development journey, the grace I gave myself, the compassion that I gave myself. And I want to encourage all of our listeners, stick with personal development. And not everything will resonate with you, and maybe you won't be ready for it. I've had times where things didn't resonate with me, and then I revisit it 3 years later and I think, oh my goodness, how did I live without this? How did I live without this tool in my toolbox? Well, I wasn't ready for it before. That's okay. I'm ready for it now. That's what I wanted to share today, Ada.
Learning to trust the process, that makes all the difference in this journey. And when you say it's hard to see how far you've come, I'll do the little plug here. That's why you have a win journal. So you can go back and see, well, maybe you only have a few wins in the beginning, or I'm going to say maybe you only have a few that you can recognize.
Can I interrupt you right there? I hate to interrupt you, but so the other day we were on, earlier in the week, we were talking about win journals. And then I said yesterday or the day before that I don't have a win journal.
Why not?
Well, and what I have done.
I've only been talking about it for years.
I know, but I tend to integrate my wins into my journal. But that isn't as effective. That's why we said, no, you need the separate win journal. I'm going to keep a win journal. I have the perfect journal for this because I think to myself, oh, well, I'll remember that. Oh, I'll remember that.
You won't.
But I don't.
And that's not a you thing. That's not like, oh, Annette, she's the one. She won't remember her wins. It's typical for all of us that we don't remember the wins.
Because we naturally have a negativity bias.
That's right.
And we can go to that negativity bias so easily, and we forget all the wonderful strides that we've made and the times that we've shown up for ourselves and the hurdles that we've come through.
Totally. And the thing about having your win journal separate is because you want to see all your wins together. If you have stress and struggle intermixed with wins, with that negativity bias, you will go towards the stress and struggle and start thinking about that.
Plus, you can't really access in your main journal the wins because you have to read through all the other things.
Exactly. Then that could bring you down. You could say, oh, yeah, that was so hard. You could start thinking about the challenging times where with the win journal, all you get to see are the wins.
Yes.
That's it. And that helps build up your confidence that, yes, you can do this. And you can start to see the change because we do want to focus on the wins more than anything, because when we see the wins, we'll keep up with the wins. We see the stress and the struggle, and that's where our mind goes. We're more likely then to continue those habits because that's what's on our mind.
What I was thinking about with the win journal is, yes, we are recording our wins. What I was thinking about it, what's motivating me to have my own, it's also proof of our resilience. Proof of our resilience is, to me, huge because we can be faced with really challenging times. And if we have a reminder, I made it through over here. I made it through over there. I found support over here. People showed up and they supported me and they encouraged me. Just to have that record of our resilience. You know what I'm going to do with my win journal, though?
What's that?
I'm going to go back. I'm probably going to have to do this during the holidays because I really want to do this. I'm going to go back and record as many wins as I can remember from way back. I'm not going to just start now and start recording wins because I think the win journal, another way to think about that, is a record of our resilience.
And I bet you have a lot more resilience than you realize. As you think about it, you're going to see, you know what, I really am resilient. All the times I thought, oh no, can I keep going? You're going to look at that win journal and say, hell yeah, I'm totally resilient and I can take on anything. And the way we like to look at this with trusting the process, that's my reflection too. You and I, when we were first starting, we had this little diagram, and you all know we're into worksheets. We like diagrams. We like all that stuff. I think having the visual.
I need a visual. Yeah, I need a visual.
Having that visual gives us a different perspective that we may not get just through words. But we had this diagram where we had the past, the present, and the future, like a timeline. And then we had an arrow going from the present to the past, and then a huge arch from the past to the future, symbolizing we have to heal the habits that got us from the past to the present. And then from that, we can release the future and go on to the future without all that burden. To me, when we're trusting the process, It's understanding that it's going to be a little bit messy on the front end. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard because there are things that we have to undo. There's habits and mindsets and thought systems that we have to undo and let go of before we can add on the new helps. We can't just add on new on top of the old. We have to undo the past so then our future can be free of all that past stuff, all that past gunk or the muck and the mire.
And you're talking about the coping strategies, the way the misbehavior, all of that. So we kind of undo all of that so that we can actually, using the analogy of the cup, we're emptying our cup of all that hasn't served us. And then we're refilling our cup with all of our new tools, all of our new knowledge, all of our new confidence, and all of our new sense of self-worth, so that we can show up as that best version of ourselves.
Right. And we have to empty the cup.
Yeah, that's the undoing process. Exactly.
And emptying is hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat that at all. It is hard, but it doesn't last forever.
And it's also exciting. Like, we get to empty our cup.
And that's the way we like to look at it. We get to empty our cup so we can refill our cup with the best version of ourselves. So trust the process, even if it's hard. That's why we need support in life. This isn't a solo adventure that we're just going to take on by ourselves. We do need other people. We need people who trust our gut. We need people who can support us, whether they're friends and family or whether they're in a professional capacity. But trust that process, because in the end, you'll have so many wins, you'll fill up that journal in no time.
And trust the process because you're worth it.
More than anything. And of course, trust the process because healing is possible. So that's our reflection. If you have your own, we'd love to have you join us. We do have a Substack, morningintentions.substack.com. You can leave a comment and share your reflection with us, because this isn't a solo adventure. We're all here on Morning Intentions together. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our day is better because you are part of our day. See you Monday.
See you then.
I'm wanting something more, and I'm ready to begin a life of happiness. So